All right, welcome back to Triple R Performance Garage. We got a 69 Mustang Coupe, and the owner is complaining that this thing just does not run right. So we got a 351 Windsor. Let's go ahead and see what's going on. We're gonna take it for a road trip, kind of get a feeling on what she's talking about, and kind of go from there. So stay tuned. All right, so let's pop the little hood here. All right, so now that we're under the barn here, here's a 351. It's a new motor. It's a Windsor. I actually sold it to the lady, and she had another mechanic install it, and she's had issues. It's just not running correctly. And I'm noticing already that the carburetor looks like it's been sitting in the bottom of the ocean for like 10 years. And if you look at the fuel filter, that is some nasty looking fuel. So I can already predict that the gas tank was already pretty nasty from sitting. It sucked in a bunch of sediment into the carburetor, and it is not happy. But let's go take it for a spin, see if we can feel the timing, see how it runs. And yeah, let's go ahead and see how she starts first. Okay, so make sure it's in neutral. Probably needs a little bit of throttle. This actually sounds pretty darn good. It's not running terrible. Well, let's take it for a spin. All right, you're gonna have to look at my ugly mug. Got a 5-speed shifter. It's nice. Clutch is stiff. Let's see how she does. Let's go first gear. By the way, I'm gonna record my glasses, so you gotta see me in those. All right, here we go. Kind of behavior she's talking about. Gotta get out on 285. It's a dangerous highway. Here we go. All right, we're off. The motor's a little peppy. Honestly, it feels pretty decent. Downshift a little. Oh, there she is. She's cutting out right there. She doesn't like that throttle. Let's go third. Oh, she's running pretty good. Got her up to 60. She drives pretty nice. Cuts out at 3/4 throttle pretty bad. It's like a so I think I know what that is. The secondaries are clogged up pretty good, but I'm gonna take her for a spin and go from there. I haven't been driving a 69 Mustang in a long time. Well, you hear that? Sucking in that nasty gas. It even stinks. Get a chance to turn around up here. It's a beautiful drive up here in the mountains. Huh. Longhorn sheep up there. Don't see that every day. Here we go. scene for Fast and Furious. No, gone 60 seconds more like. There we go. This drive's nice. Just running rich and barrels aren't breathing very well. All right, now we got the Mustang here, and man, the motor is nice. It runs good. It feels good. We took it for a cruise, but as I'm looking at it, I can see all the small issues here and there. A, I can hear timing issues. B, I can already tell in the fuel filter, it's nasty fuel. I mean, we got to drain that tank completely out as much as we possibly can. Then we're going to change the fuel, the carburetor, go from there. So let me pull you in here and show you how nasty this fuel looks. Okay, so now that we're in here, you can see they put the little clear bulb on here, which is nice, because now I can see how nasty that fuel looks. That looks varnished and maybe a little rusty. See a little bit of particles in there. So, all right, so after we get this disconnected from the fuel filter, we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the line, turn it into a fuel can. Try to get that as clear as we possibly can. I want that tank drained completely out before I put it into the new carburetor. Yes, an Edelbrock is fine for street driving. It does the job, but this one's gunked up pretty bad. It has some issues that I'm not too fond of. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it off of this motor, put a Holly on it, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a minute. And then hopefully we can get the new fuel line in, the new fuel filter, the carburetor, and see how it runs with the new carb. And then we can address timing after that. So I'm gonna get to draining this. All right, well, I'm gonna save myself a huge headache. I'm just gonna cut the line right there. Look at that, that is varnished gas. Holy moly. That is some of the nastiest varnished gas I've seen in a long time. Even smells like it's been sitting for 20 years. So we're gonna get this thing out of here. I'll get a jug. Ooh, see how nasty this comes out. I'm gonna turn on the key and you guys tell me. Put it in the kitty litter. See? That's nasty looking. So I'm gonna dump this out into another can. And then I'm gonna find out how it looks after this. All right, now I'm gonna start again. Can you find a home? Let's put it down here. You can't see, but we're gonna drain it in there real quick. All right, a bit of advice for people that are building from home. I just pulled out 13 gallons of varnished junk fuel. And what that tells me is when they put this together, they didn't check the fuel tank to make sure it was a good tank, which by the way I did, it's clean. but they didn't drain the old junky gas out of there, filled it up, and they created themselves a full tank of varnished crap fuel. So keep that in mind, especially when you put a performance engine in your car. This one makes 500 horses. I would not want to run it on varnished fuel. All right. So now that we got that fuel out of there, it's gonna spill on me, I'm sure. Let's get it out of here. Okay, we got the filter out of the way. Let's go ahead and get this carburetor off. Get the new pretty little double pumper on here. And these days, it's a lost art. Nobody seems to know how to work on carburetors anymore. I'll tell you right now, not that hard. It's funny how guys are intimidated by carburetors, but they can do fuel injection. That's oxymoron to me, because carburetor's been around for over 100 years, people. It should be pretty simple. Might have to get a wrench. A wrench. There we go. No, we're good. All right. Taking the throttle bracket off now. There we go. Perfect. Get the throttle ball. Throttle balls, if you don't know what they are, it's just a ball that it pops on. And then sometimes fights. Come off, come off. Get off there. Let's just use a tool. Save my fingers. This ain't the right tool, but if it works, does that really matter? Okay, so this sucker, get the vacuum lines off. This one goes to the advance on the distributor. Small one does. You got to take the choke off. Just got a hot and then a ground. The ground just goes to the base, it looks like. Get that off of there. And then, what is this? It's PCV? PDC, whatever. Doesn't have power brakes, so that's what it is. All right. Let's get rid of this old nasty thing. Maybe we'll tear it apart and look at it someday, but for now, we'll set it aside. All right. And then I'll move back and show you what's next. All right. So here's the base gasket. I'm going to show you a big no-no. This is people not paying attention to what they're doing. My Lord, they glue that thing on there? Get off of there. Great. Now I gotta clean that base gasket off. That's just what I wanted to do. Let's see here. Well, whatever. Well, I'll scrape that off here in a second, but what you don't want to use is these. These are junk. It's like a composite gasket. And they like triple gasket this thing. Had the gasket that's glued on, gasket underneath, this thing, then gasket on. This is just junk. This irritates me. Well, anyway, here's the new carburetor straight from Summit Racing. This is a Holley 650 double pumper. This is a genuine Holley, polished Holley. This isn't the Brawler series. Brawler series are good too, though. But this thing comes out of the box polished. Pretty nice. It's got the choke on it. If you look inside here, it's a pretty nice carburetor. Has the bleeders. I mean, this is a nice carburetor. So this is what's going on the motor. I'm gonna go ahead and show you what all comes with it. You saw the little caps that they put on it just popping off. It comes with some nice little anodized fittings, which also come with the O-rings for that. They're real small O-rings, but you know, we can stretch them over. So we got to get the carburetor on here. It comes with extra brackets, extra little guides and stuff. And then it also comes with a power wire for the choke, which I don't need because I already have one. Then it comes with short and long studs to mount it. So I'm going to go ahead and clean off the gasket, and then we'll get to mounting this thing. But let me set this aside for now. All right, we finally got the base all cleaned up and the manifold and everything all purdied up. But if you ever see anyone walk up to a carburetor base gasket with some RTV, get out of here. That's what you need to do. All right, so let's go ahead and get this carburetor on here. I'm going to go ahead and grab the new base gasket. Get this on here nice and smooth. All right, so the linkage is going to go on this side because the choke's on the other side. Hopefully it clears. All right, so this lady's really nice. I want to help her out the best I can, and cutting that bracket is okay, but I want to have a nice bracket on. I want her to pop the hood and love what she's looking at. So I'm going to get a nice throttle bracket. We're going to get another return spring. And then as for the fuel line, you have 2 bowls now instead of 1 on the Edelbrock. And I need a Y, just a little Y that can go to the 2 fuel lines. So I'm going to get some more fuel line. I'm going to get the throttle bracket. And then I need more fuel. I actually, I used up all the fuel. I sucked it all out. I only have a gallon of good 91 in here. So I'm going to get some fuel. And then tomorrow I'll be back and we'll finish putting this together. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow. All right, welcome back. And we went shopping. I got just a universal throttle bracket that has actually a TV cable and throttle bracket attachment. I don't have a TV cable on a manual, so let's get it open. We'll take it out and see what we can remove and not use, because I really just need it for the throttle. So let's see here. So as you see, this bolts to the carb as such. And this looks like the throttle portion. This looks like the TV portion. So yeah, we're gonna take this bottom section off. Don't need this. So I'm just gonna take the little bolts out here. Set this aside. Of course, it's gonna be tighter than it needs to be. Go grab a Phillips. All right, so I got the TV cable portion removed, and now we have a return spring, the mount, and then the throttle cable, which this could flip either way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it on here real quick, and let me bring you in here so you can see this much closer. All right, so with the old Edelbrock carburetor, this was the bracket that they had, the throttle cable attachment, I guess. And as you can see, it kind of went like this on the backside. Well, you're not going to do that with this, but it's kind of goofy. Somebody cobbled this together. So here is the Universal Spectra, I think is the brand, throttle bracket thing. This tightens it against the edge of the body to keep it in the straight position that you want it. So what we need to do is tighten this down. So if we can find the nut here. We already have the washer, so we're good. We'll get that nut on. And I'll go ahead and grab a 1/2 inch and we'll tighten this all down around it. Okay, so now we have the half. Start here. Go around the corner slowly so it seals. Sometimes they have a vent cap that gets in the way of some of these, so you gotta be aware of that. Okay, so I'm going lightly and then I'm going to do it by hand. So now we can begin by hand. Get it nice and tight. This ain't rocket science, or this is not rocket science. Tightening a carb down. Just make it even, right? Like anything, you want it down even. Okay, now we'll get the vacuum advance in a minute. So here is the throttle. I need to figure out which hole I'm going to put the ball in, right? And we need to make sure we have full throttle. So theoretically, if we were to pop this in, yeah, there we go. And we put the ball as far as we can here, we'll adjust it and make sure that we get full throttle. So I need to take the ball off here first, or off the other carburetor, because I don't have a new one with this one, and then we'll screw it on here so that we can actually pop the throttle cable on. See, the ball goes inside there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that ball and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, let's get that spring on there. You want to make sure that spring is nice and tight. You don't want that to come off either. Let's face it, you don't want any of this to come off. Now if you were drag racing, you'd want a double spring, not a single. And if I had one, I would, I'd put it on there, but I don't have an extra spring. So you guys watch this, okay? I'm gonna go in the cab and I'm gonna put the throttle down. And then you tell me if that looks like it's full throttle. I'll be watching as well. All right, here we go. And, oh, it ain't working. That's the brake pedal. I don't know. What is this? What does a Mustang sound like? Help me. Help me. No, that's a Mustang. That'll work. Anyway, so it looks like it's going to the floor, and it looks like full throttle to me. And I can actually check that here in a little bit with some helper, but yeah. I think we got full throttle. I like the return action on it. And if I can find a double spring, I'll add it. But for now, the throttle is looking good. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a couple tools I need here, and we're gonna get that fuel filter line put in here. So this is not a clear fuel filter, so I did clean the tank out. It looked actually very, very clean. So I was pretty pleased with that. But we're gonna get 2 new clamps. This one has a Phillips head. Of course it does, why wouldn't it? But we're gonna go ahead and just put this on. This is, like I said, this isn't anything crazy. Just get this filter on. And I rerouted, I didn't like the tower brace bar, whatever they call it, having that clamp down there. So I just tucked it in behind and it looks just fine to me. So let's get the Phillips, I'll tighten that down. Before I do, here's the regulator under here. I just need to get a little T and get 2 short lines, and then I'll put the T right here. So let me grab that T. Okay. There's other kits that you can get, but for this one, I just decided a T was fine. We'll get a clamp on this as well. Put the T here. Perfect. And then I got to make some lines to go from here to here and then on the other side. So theoretically, I can actually get those 2 lines cut. And I want them even, so I'm just gonna snip. And this is way overkill. This fuel line, but I really don't care. I'd rather go overkill than not have enough. So the reason I stopped there is the carburetor came with two nipples, two fittings. They have a little O-ring that I had to slide on it. So I'll go ahead and thread those into the bowls. And this is what feeds the bowls. So if you don't know how a carburetor works, there's a needle in the seat and a float, and it fills the bowl up to where the float is. The float closes the needle, shuts off the fuel. You have the right level. If it gets stuck, it'll overflow, start spewing out here, yada yada yada. If it's too low, you're not gonna have enough fuel. Yeah, it's not rocket science. How many times do I have to say that? So now I should get a AN wrench, but whatever. These are some cheap fittings anyway. Tighten them down and get ready to put the fuel lines on. I should actually bring you over to this side so you can see what I'm doing. So what I'm working on is I threaded these nipples in here. These little AN nipples. They have O-rings, and that's what feeds the fuel bowls with the float and the needle of the seat and everything, so you have the correct levels. This is what came with this kit. There's a lot of different designs for the fuel lines. They have logs, rails, a whole bunch of cool things you can put on them. But I'm going to use what she gave me with her carb, and we'll be good. It'll work just fine. So then I just need to get the clamp on the line here, put a clamp on this line here, and we'll connect these. Okay. And whoop, just like that. Clamps will all be tightened here in a minute. And then I actually am one small clamp shy. I have these huge ones that, yeah, they'd work, but they're just not right. So I'm going to put this on temporarily, and I'm going to go dig for another clamp. So this will go here, and you kind of get the gist. All right, this tank's drained out. We got some fresh gas here. Stupid Mustang cap. It's flat, so that's great for funnels. So I wrap my race can here, and all you can get in Colorado is 91 unless you go buy race gas from a race station like Hill Petroleum. So unfortunately, 91 is all she gets, but that's what she'll have here in Colorado. So guess it is what it is. So let's get this sucker filled up. And with the clamps tightened now on the carburetor, I just want to turn on the fuel pump. I want to make sure that it doesn't have a stuck bowl, like a float and a needle, so it starts overflowing. We don't want that. We don't know, no geysers. Need to make sure the carburetor doesn't start shooting out the boosters. Need to make sure that the fuel lines don't leak. This is a leak test. So we got to get a little fuel in there to do that since it was completely dry. We'll go from there. This gas is so much better than the stuff that I took out of it. This tank wasn't really rusty, not as bad as I had expected. It cleaned up really easy. But the gas in it from sitting out in the field for so damn long was nasty. Just nasty varnished junk. Maybe good for polishing some wood or something, I don't know, but not good for running. Let's get that cap back on. Well, that don't look good. The Mustang's not lined up. Well, that's goofy. Anyway. All right, I'm going to get up there. We're going to see if it leaks. So let me drag you back up. All right. So I'm going to go up front, and I'm going to turn that fuel pump on so it primes the system. And you just go ahead and shout like, "Ah!" or something if you see some leak. and then I won't hear you, and we'll burn the garage down. All right, let's get this done. All right, it's running. Wow. I don't see any leaks. All right, I'm gonna bring you in closer and show you how incredible these carbs are coming out of the box. Okay, so we just primed the carburetor, and if you see through these sight glasses, you can see midway of the bowl. Now, I personally would consider it a little too high. I want to bring it down midway to the glass. It's actually 3/4 of the way up to glass. But right out of the box, this sucker is adjusted pretty dang close. So it's close enough to fire. So the good news is I don't feel like touching any jets, any bleeders, any squirters, nothing. I've had incredible luck with these things starting right out of the box. So first we need to connect a few, vacuum lines. We have the vacuum advance here, which I need to find potentially a longer hose because I want to put it over here. I don't know, let's see. I don't really have a lot of places to put it. I want to put it here. And then there's another option down here. Here's the choke. Let's get the choke positive on. It's the same as the other one, so it's easy. We have to put this for the piece of heat on it. So we'll pop the cap off the bottom here. So I'll go ahead and get these vacuum lines on, and then we're going to get ready to fire. Okie dokie. It's time to fire this puppy up. We want to see, first, is it going to run any better with the new carburetor, with the better fuel? I'm sure it will. And then if it's still running rich, we need to check timing, adjust the carburetor, maybe some jetting, floats, yada, yada, yada. But first, let's see what this thing does right out of the box. All right, neutral. Get her done. All right, let's open up that choke. Okay, slow squirter. It's all right, we'll get there. She's just thirsty. Choke is closed. Come on, open up choke. Oh. Give her a little bit of idle. She's smoking. A little in the back. Okay, I had to quickly shut the garage door so I wouldn't exhaust myself out of here. I'm going to start adjusting the idle air screws and kind of tune what I can without cracking open the carb. And let's see how clean we can get it to run the way basically how it comes out of the box. So I'm going to go ahead and start it up and go from there. And let's go. Ooh, that was fast. That fired up nice. right, so now the carburetor is done, it is dialed. I mean, I may not have to do anything to it, might do small tweaks, but it is running amazing right out of the box. Great, really good response. And by the way, there's those people out there that have an Uncle Joe that's like, turn those idle air screws 1.5 or 2.5 turns out on all four and you're good to go. Wrong, you got to use vacuum gauge and adjust them according to the vacuum gauge, yada, yada, yada. Or in my case, I adjust them out, then adjust them in until they want to change idle, and then kind of find that sweet spot. They're all at 3/4 of a turn, and they are happy as a clam. So, sorry, Uncle Joe, you're wrong. Now it's time to do firing order on the Ford. It's a 351 Windsor, which Chevys are 1843657 and these are 13726548, I believe. Yeah, 13726548. On a Chevy, it's odds and evens. On this, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on almost every single motor on the planet, the number one cylinder is the most forward cylinder on the motor. And as you see, that would be this one. So that's number one cylinder. And what I already did is brought the piston up to top dead center at the very top point. Let me shine down here, and I marked the balancer directly on the marker for number one. So I'm going to go ahead and set this down, and I'm going to time this thing to 34 degrees and see where we're at currently. So I'm going to go ahead and set it down and get started. All right, it's time to get some timing in this lovely beast. So I'm going to go ahead and fire her up, make sure this is not in the fan. Good. Here we go. Oh. Beautiful. Idle is 800. Go ahead and see where we're at. So initial. All right, initial is 8 degrees. Now this has a spring-loaded advance, which means with RPM it advances to a certain level. So you have to give it throttle while you check it in advance. So I'm going to bring it up to RPM, and I want to see somewhere around 34 degrees. It's at 8 initial, so I'm going to 34, and we'll see where we're at. Degrees. She's at 32 degrees, so I'm going to leave it there for now. She's happy at 32, so what I'm going to do, let me shut her down and I'll get to talking. Okay, so like I said previously, the car's running good with the new carburetor. I didn't have to touch a dang thing on that carburetor, and it runs fantastic. And that seems to be a pretty common thing with the new Brawler line, the Hollies, all the things right out of the box. They seem to run really well. It cleared up all the exhaust smoke. We don't have a lot of richness. I wish I had an air fuel gauge, but I don't. But it's running smooth. It's crisp. Its throttle response is fantastic. So the initial timing at idle is 8 degrees, and then at total advance is 32. And although I'd like to see 34 with this motor, I'm going to leave it at 32, and we're going to take it for a cruise and decide if we need to add any jet, remove jet, take the bulls, take the timing up, whatever we need to do. But the way it sounds right now, I don't see us touching much. So we're going to take it for a cruise, but tonight it's too dark. It's only 12 degrees and I'm cold, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this sucker up. I'll put the air cleaner on and we'll have it ready to go for when it's warm. So hopefully that's tomorrow. See what happens. All right, we're going to take it for a cruise. Time for a cruise. Let's get her going. Just pulling it out of the garage around all the junk. She's running amazing. 32 degrees, new carburetor, cleaned out fuel tank, yada yada yada. She's happy. So let's just see if she responds better. All right, get to bang some gears too. That's fun. Traffic. Here we go. Oh, she's peppy. Oh, way better. Ooh, the tire's off just leaving the driveway. Yep, she's responding way better. In fourth gear, she pulls now. So, see what she does in fifth gear. Oh yeah. Much better. Let's do a third gear drop. Oh, I'll go first. I think I got it tuned in anything. This carburetor's dialed. Let's turn off the road here. Let's go up the mountain a little ways. We're going to take her up the pass a little ways. We got a Tundra in the way. Nice new cam. Look at that. It's good to see them fixing up. Alright, so we're in second gear, just taking it for a nice cruise. Keep in mind, people, this is 9,000 feet. So at 9,000 feet, this motor is running good carburetor in 27-degree temperatures. So I am very pleased so far with that. Let's get her a nice cruise for a little bit and then maybe have a little fun. All right. It's always a nice, beautiful scenery drive up here. Every time I test drive these cars, I get to go up Guanilla Pass. And would you believe, the end of January, this is what you get on Guanilla Pass? Years past, this used to be feet of snow. I'm not going to say what it's attributed to. I'm just going to say it's changed. Nice cruise. Fun cruise. Now I gotta slow down. I don't want to piss anybody off up here. Look at my neighbors. Alright. Pretty happy so far. I'm getting good throttle response. I see zero blue smoke out the back. I don't see white smoke. I don't see any smoke, actually. I don't see... The color of smoke determines what it is, whether it's coolant in the combustion chamber, burning oil, or if it's just rich. And it was burning pretty rich before. Now we're not seeing any of that. So... that old carburetor had some issues, and quite frankly, it was just not the right carburetor for this motor. This motor makes some really good power, runs really good. So I just hope she enjoys her toy when she gets back. Oh yeah, smooth. It's nice having a manual steering car, right? You know, everybody in their fancy power steering cars these days, they don't know what it's like to have an old Hurst shifter and a manual steering and manual brakes. Now hence this one has power brakes now, I think. Nope, this is manual brakes as well. This is old school driving right here. It does have discs. Snowed over. Alright, here we go. We're gonna come up here and we're gonna play a little. Sorry about the goofy glasses, that's how you can see what I see. They work well. Pull into this lot here real quick. Give her a spin. We're almost out of gas. I tried to do a little whip-de-doodle and she died because she came away from the pickup. I could actually hear the pump. So let's get her back, get her parked. I'm going to check the spark plug and see where it's at, but I think she's good to go. I would not complain about how this thing runs, especially since she's going to be going down to Denver with it. Dropping elevation down to a mile high from nearly 10,000 feet makes a big difference on air. So we're gonna call this one good to go. We'll top her off with some best gas we can find around here, which is hard to find anymore. And then yeah, probably do a little bit of body work and stuff. May or may not show that in a video, I'm not sure. Not really a body work guy, I don't enjoy doing it, but I do it sometimes anyway. So yeah, let's just drive her on back to the shop and just enjoy the cruise. All right, thank you for tuning in with me today. The car's running real good. She's happy. So we're gonna go ahead and, clean her up, throw some new fuel in her and give her back to the owner. So thank you for joining my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't, and see you on the next one.